How are you, Raiders family? It's Bourkeys, and it's a bit after 5 Thursday. Weird having a Thursday night game. Couple of hours, busy day for everyone, I'm assuming. On your way home from work, already home with a coldie, or getting dinner on, guys. So big game for us. Everyone's written us off, but the faithful, and there's plenty of us here that believe we can win, and I think we can win. And I'm hoping to give you a really nice top 10 to give you some confidence why I think we can win. But look, let's get into the Roosters. Number one, I've gone Bully Boys. I think the Roosters with our pack tonight particularly are going to try and bully us. Just like the Storm tried last week and didn't actually succeed, I can see the Roosters doing particularly the same type of game plan. Purely because we've got some inexperienced stocks in our forward bench or our forward rotation now, particularly coming off the bench. So look, I'm expecting the Roosters to really try and muscle up and really try and intimidate us around that middle, which is where they like to play a lot of their games. So I'm not expecting that to change tonight. I'm expecting to be very aggressive and really try and stand over us quite considerably to get some momentum in that ruck area. Number two, I've gone for Luke Keary. I've gone for Tedesco 3 because I think Keary's obviously the main game breaker in that front line. He'll fade left, as we know, in last year's grand final. Heartbreak, he'll get to dummy half. If he can catch a right side defender, so whether it's Oldfield, who might be still a bit patchy with little game time, or little legs as well, not having that match fitness, whether it might be Tarpany or someone like that who might be a little bit slow and not with the ruck, Keary's going to scoot that left side. Predominantly, though, he's going to play right edge, which is what he did against the Cowboys last week. But he plays a very, very wide right edge because he likes a long pass from dummy half to escape that oncoming marker traffic to get up into his face and put pressure on him. So he'll play a lot wider than usual, trying to give him space on the outside with a short ball to Manu or one of the Morris boys. But then he'll have, trailing inside, his old faithful partner in Tedesco. So I'll come to that in a minute. So what will usually happen here when he plays right, and usually late in the first half, so 10 minutes out from the first half, is when he'll usually feign right and go back inside to Tedesco, which is where he can weave through the middle, particularly if we have lazy markers or a fractured defensive line. Keary will look and spot dummy, and Tedesco will be sniffing around that inside ball a hell of a lot. So we've really got to make sure with Keary particularly that those markers have to push up in a line. We can't be lazy there and have fractured because we'll get caught with our pants down again if we don't move up together. So Keary's really going to be the guy that runs the attack. Flanagan not as much. Keary both left and right. If he's on the right and doesn't switch to the left, we'll be telling Flanagan to take a settler, and that's when Keary will try and expose on the right hand side. We've really got to get up with Keary, not overplay it, but by the same token, we need to have some speed to take away the amount of time he has with the ball. And that's the big thing. We need to get up into his face and, as I said, limit his opportunities to think through how he's going to get through our defence. Number 3, obviously, Tedesco. You can't control him for 80 minutes of the game. Most importantly with our kicks is they've got to go on the ground. So we did that quite well last week against the Storm. But if we can get those kicks on the ground, it gives our defence a couple of more seconds to get up into Tedesco's face, get a nice straight line, and force him to make a play or just to go to ground. So we've got to really kick to the corners with Tedesco. And as I said, we've got to keep hitting the ground the entire game. We can't give him balls on the full to get 15, 25, 30 metres of free yardage. So those kicks have to be on the ground from Jack and from George. But Tedesco said you just can't control him for 80, but we can try and limit the way that he imposes himself and the impact that he'll make by, as I said, getting up and pressurising Keary and those types of guys to making rash decisions, and then trying best we can to hitting Tedesco. As I said, 5-10 minutes before half time, 5-10 minutes second half is where Tedesco will be sniffing around that ruck area. Usually early in the game, he's wide, looking for face balls with the winger, face balls with Morris. So we've really got to make sure that, once again, in those situations, if he is going wide, that we have faith in our outside men. Number 4, I've gone for Maria Hargraves and corner. What I noticed the Roosters do a lot with these two is they really try and win the ruck and hit these guys back to back. So it'd be Maria Hargreaves, Cordner, then possibly Maria Hargreaves again, or Cordner, Maria Hargreaves, Cordner again. They really try and bully in, like I said at the first one, bully in and muscle up with those guys in early rucks to win that ruck area, which gives Keary and Tedesco time to work some magic in attack. So they're their two real main go-forward players, Maria Hargreaves and Cordner. So once again, we've got to make sure we get up, take their space, don't let them win the ruck, and just keep that nice tight line around that ruck area. So let's come to us. I think we can have a really solid game plan against the Roosters. I think the Roosters are really going to try upbeat tonight and keep the ball in play. I'm thinking we have to try and slow it down tonight. Kick to the touchline, walk to the scrum, let ourselves get a breather, and then go again. So I'm more than happy to play very structured, simple vanilla football, one off the ruck out of dummy half, kick to the sideline, walk to the scrums, and really slow it down where we can. I think that'll frustrate the Roosters tonight. They'll be looking for a speed game, particularly if it's a good surface. That's what they'll be looking to do. So we just got to backtrack a bit, not be too overexcited, and just be methodical with our approach. Havili I've got at number 6, Havili to run. I think Havili's just got to do a lot of dummy half runs tonight. If he can get some dummy half runs and get us over the advantage line, then I'd really love to see the likes of Rapana, Shans and Nick pick up from dummy half and really hit the Roosters either side of that ruck area. I think if Havili can get over that advantage line, not so much play a normal Hodso type where he's passing, but really run a hell of a lot. But it's most important we win that ruck with Havili to give him that momentum. But I'd like to see him run a hell of a lot out of dummy half tonight. We're going to lose his kicking game. He doesn't have a kicking game compared to Hodjo out of dummy half. So we are going to lose that a little bit. But I think we can get more impact from him than Hodjo by that hard, gritty yardage out of dummy half. Bombs away have gone from number 7. I think with Tupou out, the Roosters might be a bit vulnerable to high kicks. Igavalu and Morris aren't the tallest guys. If Tupou was there, there's no chance we'd be kicking bombs to him. But with those two guys, they're not big in stature. We've got some good jumpers with Jordan and Nick who can jump. Bailey's a great jumper, but obviously he's out. But I think we can really get some mileage if we get good field position to put up some cross-field bombs to give the likes of Jared and Jack some really good jumping opportunities for some possible tries. The back three, as I said, number 8 on Bourkeys' top 10. The back three, Nick, Shans, Jordan, they have to be very impactful tonight. They need to be sniffing around for offloads around that ruck area. Try and catch the Roosters off guard with particularly strong runs out of dummy half. Don't go back into the markers. Spread the Roosters' defence as wide as possible. Make them chase. Make them overplay. As I said, if those back three can get off the back of Havili's runs, we could really cause some carnage around that Roosters ruck. Number 9, I've gone for Papa to lead the way. He's now our forward leader, bar none. He loves playing against Maria Hargreaves, so I'm really expecting Papa to take that next step tonight to lead us. We need him to lead. He's got to play some big minutes tonight. He's got to be playing 65 minutes, I think, at least, to give us a chance of winning. If he can be on the field, Papa, and if he can really make some yardage behind the ruck and get some offloads, I think it's really going to suit us in good stead. And number 10 on the back of that, if Jack and George, the Roosters like to really cram up on those edges in defence. So if we can get Jack and George, if we can win the ruck and get Jack and George some early ball, they can really cause a bit of carnage on those edges and keep the Roosters spread. The Roosters like to muscle up and come in and really pound you and compact you back into that ruck area. But if Jack and George can spread the ball a bit wide and stay wider, and we can get some momentum through that ruck area and keep those Roosters edge defenders where they are and not muscling in to try and get a big shot, those guys could really get some good yardage in behind the ruck, just like George's try a few weeks ago against the Dragons, and Jack was running a lot better last week as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing if we can get some momentum with those guys also. So Raiders fans, that's it from Bourkeys' Top 10 preview this week against the Roosters round 10. A couple of hours to kick off, guys. Looking forward to this. I've got some big hope for the game. I think we're a big chance, guys. I love your support on Facebook, on Twitter and on YouTube. Shoot me any questions, queries or comments. I love to read them all. And as always, this is Berkey. Bleed green.